I have to rely on my relationship with God. And that's the thing too, like that this is like you mentioned, the prescription is wrong, because like when you want to have traditional relationships, there is a component of morality and there is a component of religion. Okay. Yeah. Whether like I've talked to Muslim women, like I've talked to so many people in so many different religions, right? And the thing that holds it all together is this morality component, right? It's knowing that I serve my God, and it's like my relationship with God is what feeds my relationship with my husband. Mm-hmm. If I just relied on the relationship with my husband, we would be at each other's throats all the time. Right. You know what I mean? But there are things that I've wanted to say to my husband that I let other people say to my husband, that I let God say to my husband, that I use other men to speak to my husband.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
And I know you probably don't have too much time.
Yeah, I have like 30 minutes left. Oh, that's my hard.
That's more than
out.
I thought. Okay, cool. So okay. let's talk about those things when it comes to the advice side, right? Mm-hmm. So me and my wife, when we talk about things, we realize that the reason why I need to love her is not because we're in love.
Yeah.
It's because God tells me to. Mm-hmm. The reason she needs to respect me is because God tells her to. Mm-hmm. And so some days she's going to feel like it just because I'm great. Sometimes I'm going to feel like it because she's great. But then sometimes I'm not going to be great. Blah, blah, blah.
That's more often the case. Exactly. Is that there are very many seasons where it's like, I can't even look at you right now. You know what I mean? And it's like, we have to go, like, that's when you talk to older people. So I'm in a marriage group with older people that have been married for 15, 20, 30 plus years. Okay. And hearing their perspective about marriage is so eye-opening and it's so encouraging. And that's why like we remain in this group, because we get so much value from these people, and they go through the same thing. They say like, this whole like chasing the honeymoon phase, like, yeah, that's eventually going to run out, and you're going to have companionship love with your husband and with your wife for the rest of your marriage, and you will have romantic love sprinkled in here and there. But like that idea of like romantic love, like this, oh baby, like let's make out on the beach and you know what I mean? Like that's that honeymoon phase. That's that initial like attraction, and you should be attracted to your spouse. You should have that polarity within your marriage, within your relationship. However, letting that sustain your marriage for the long run is where people get it wrong. And I've only been married 3 years. Okay. So like I hear this from people, like I get my information from other people who've been married for much longer than I have. And they say the same exact thing. And that's what keeps me going, because there are going to be seasons of my life. There's going to be seasons of my husband's life that are not going to be cookie cutter. Oh, we're just in marriage bliss. Right. No, so you go through struggle.
So it's like in those moments where you feel like, oh man, I can't stand him, or I can't stand her, how do you get through those moments? You know what I mean? Like,
you recognize that it's a feeling. You recognize that it's a feeling, and feelings are fickle. Feelings go away. Feelings change from moments in the day.
How do you get through those moments while the rest of the world is telling you those feelings are what you need to be listening to?
I literally,
especially coming from a feminist perspective. I don't mean to mansplain it, but I don't mean to set you off. But like your personal story, your unique situation. I know you probably fought with the idea and some of the ideology that you came up with, and what the world is constantly telling you, and maybe some old girlfriends that were in the picture. How did you fight those voices, and maybe even voice of people you were friends with that still aren't walking the same walk you guys are walking? How did you fight those in those moments that he's talking about?
when like we're going through something, we have our like, so if we can't resolve our issues on our own, we have a counsel. Like we have our counselor that steps in, and we like message him and be like, hey, this is what we're going through right now. Like, I'm struggling with it. I can't, like, sometimes it's together, sometimes it's separate. Sometimes I would message him and be like, hey, PG, like, I'm going through something right now with James. Like, could you like mentor him in this? Like, could you actually talk to him? I can't break through to him or whatever. But I don't allow like the family, other girlfriends or other people in that like inner circle until we have some resolution, until we have like got past that, because a lot of people hold resentments for you. And I've noticed that, and I'm like, and I've made that mistake. Don't get me wrong, I've made that mistake, right? And I've had to sit down with that person that I told and be like, look, this is my husband and I'm like going to be with him for the rest of my life. So this one little hiccup that you witnessed and that you saw in me as well, you need to get over that if we're going to continue to like have relationship together, like as far as family, you know what I mean?
What was the advice that the person was saying? Or were they giving like advice, or were they?
Well,
like,
I
said you accidentally told somebody.
I will say like, oh, like, are you gonna take that from him? Oh, like, you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Bro, that just
you just triggered that. You just triggered.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
So
exactly. Like,
oh yeah, he's about to blow.